Bredstedt, Maren Kirkeheide for Norway. We're on 10 minutes away from the first start of Lenzerheide 25. Hvor det norske tilskuere? Ich sehe einige deutsche Fahnen. Wo sind die deutschen Fans? Und jetzt noch Schweizer in der Arena!
Hallo. 8, 2, 1. 7, 4, 5. 7, 4, 5. Ja.
No, 9, 6, 9.
9, 6, 9. 4, 2.
5, 1, 3.
Ja.
5, 4.
Ja. 6, 0, 2.
6, 0, 2.
Hast du 6, 4? Ja. 6, 4, gut, gut, 2, ja. 7.
Italien mit der Startnummer 6 und jetzt hoffe ich, dass ich eine kleine...
Angewandt mit dem Team und Schlussläufer. Und damit auch nochmal ein Applaus. Niklas Handwerk.
Number 14 of the day, the team of Canada. 15 is Slovenia. 16 is...
After much anticipation, the 2025 IBU Biathlon World Championships are here. You join us in Switzerland and the Roland Arena in Lenzerheide as the country hosts the World Championships for the first time in this format. A stadium and course that's rapidly developed over the last few years and a fitting venue for championships that will be full of historics, firsts and lasts. A special few who have carved their names into the history books prepare for their last World Championships. It's a time for chapters to be closed and batons to be handed over as new names fight for their piece of history. We start today, the first of 9 days of racing, with the mixed relay, 24 nations, 4 athletes per team, 3 2-kilometre laps and 2 shooting stages per athlete, with the first World Championship medal up for grabs. The first day of championships doesn't come much more exciting than this, and alongside myself, Ellard, is former Team USA biathlete Chad Salmela. Chad, what a way to start the next week and a half of action.
Yeah, the mixed relay is a great way to start the World Championships. It kind of puts the burden of success over the entire team, both the men's and women's side. They used to start with the individual competition. I think this is a way better start because it feels like the team goes into battle for the week of the World Championship supremacy together.
Well, just under 300 athletes from 34 countries competing over the next week and a half. The atmosphere is really electric in the stand. The fans packing it out on the first day of action, so much so that as they all wave their arms, the whole stand is shaking. Eyes, of course, will be on Johannes Tingesbo. This his final World Championships before retirement, and he could take the outright record for World Championship titles with a win today, Chad. He's level on 20 with Ole Einar Bjorndalen, and do you think that that's on his mind today?
You know, he said he didn't think about it until around Christmas time. Now he's got a finite amount of time to take numerous firsts and bests in the sport. I think what he's more probably concerned about today is being a good teammate, making sure the team is ready to roll, and doing a good job on the range and on these tracks.
Well, let's meet some of the teams. And first up, bib number 6, Switzerland. Well, there's certainly the vibe that they're peaking at just the right time, along with Italy as well. What a week the Italian team had in Antholz. It's Hannah Ockenthaler who will lead out the team, with all eyes on Tommaso Giacomel, who is back in very good form. One of the big comeback stories of the season. Germany and young Selina Grottian with a huge smile on her face. Part of the German relay team for the women that came third in the World Championships last season. And someone else who came into good form in Antholz in the World Cup was Julia Simon, who looks very focused indeed. She'll lead out the reigning world champions. It's Anna Magnusson, who wears bib number 2 with the small one next to it. Part of the winning relay team in Antholz, replacing Elvira Erberg in the team. And wearing bib number 1 today, led out by Ingrid Landmark-Tandevold, who's had to overcome her own challenges so far this season, and a team that will be brought home by Johannes Tingesbo. Many tipping this Norwegian team for greatness in this event. But Chad, there's plenty well in the top 6 who will be thinking of, if not trying to spring a surprise, but force their way onto the podium today.
I think everybody looks to France and Norway to be the 2 favorites. The great thing about this is we've got Team Great Britain getting their first start in a long time. Yep,
so Great Britain wearing bib number 24 today, led out by Shauna Pendry, the 22-year-old who made her debut on the World Cup at Le Grand Bonnard just before Christmas. The first time in a decade that Great Britain have had a quartet in the mixed relay. We can take a look through the start list. Chad, you have your eyes on Belgium as well as we flick through to the second page.
Well, I like Belgium just because they're kind of an outlier. You look, everybody can obviously point to Norway, point to France, to even point to Germany and Sweden. But Belgium has actually, their statistics are really quite good for a mixed relay. I expect to see them near the front if they have a good day.
Well, the first 2 trimesters of World Cup racing are done and dusted. And we prepare to kick things off here in Lenzerheide. The first of our World Championship medals up for grabs today. And the first race, the mixed relay. The women will take on the first 2 legs. 3 laps and 2 shooting stages per athlete. And no surprise to see Anna Magnusson of Sweden go straight to the front. She loves to blast out of the blocks with a lot of power, Chad.
Yeah, and I think the Swedes really want to prove something. I think they want to prove they can put 4 good shooting stages together. That's kind of been a challenge for them in both the men's and women's relays. This season they've been brilliant, but they've come from way behind after first and second exchanges. And I think that Sweden just wants to get out to this World Championships with a very solid start.
Yeah, Anna Magnusson, the only change from the bronze medal winning team from the World Championships last year.
See the conditions here. It's 6 degrees Celsius, so it's about 42, 43 degrees Fahrenheit, or 45 degrees Fahrenheit, excuse me. And the sun has been shining down this track now for several days. The temperatures barely got below freezing last night in Lenzerheide, so they didn't really have a chance to firm up. This is probably going to be the softest we're going to see these tracks, but it's softer than it's been all week, so the technicians have had to be on their toes for this soft conditions.
We settled them out on the course nice and early today.
The big issue for them was probably trying to figure out which pair of skis of the athletes that they own are going to have the best flex for these soft conditions, because they haven't had a chance to really test on the softest of the conditions they've seen so far in the last 3 days.
A break in racing just as we get started tomorrow. We'll be back with the first of the sprints on Friday, and that's when we expect the temperatures to drop here in Lenzerheide. We've had a few days of it even going above 10 degrees. With it sitting at between 5 and 6 degrees today, and as you can see, affecting the conditions underfoot. It's Salmela, the 20-year-old, who has gone to the front, wearing bib number 4 for Germany.
Yeah, when the tracks refreeze, if we get some days, it looks like we're going to get some days in the sprint competition that it will be under freezing. When it firms back up, we expect to see these lap times come down significantly from what we see today. You can see even Grotian at the front for Germany. She's really kind of pushing through that soft snow, and normally they might even be in a tuck skate at this sort of profile of the course. So they're kind of working the ups and the downs. Good for them. It's the first race of these championships, and it's only 6 kilometers of skiing, so it's not massive.
Where you can see the fans that pack out the side of the course as we come towards the first of the time checks. It's at 800 meters. And Salmela Grotian leading the way, the athlete spitting into 2 trains. To the side of her is Ingrid Landmark-Tandervold. Simon down in 5th. Suvi Minkkinen as well, Chad. That's someone we have to mention. It's Finland who wear bib number 10. Now, they had some challenges as we left Antholz. Plenty of illness around the squad. They've said they haven't been able to get as much training in as they would have liked. And this will be a really good test for them, just to see where their athletes, and particularly Suvi Minkkinen, who's been so strong and consistent this season, dropping down the order after a high of 5 and 6. In the overall rankings, dropping down now to 8th just because of sitting out of the events or not qualifying for the pursuit in Antholz. But this will be a really good tester for her. Yeah, I talked to Erik Kolstad, the coach for the Finnish team, the Norwegian coach of the Finnish team, yesterday, and he said a lot of the same thing that some of the other coaches told me. And there's a collision, and it looks like
Sweden
France and Sweden.
Oh.
So Anna Magnusson is continuing with her poles. Julia Simon has one of her poles is
no
snapped.
Poles. She's got no poles. She's looking for 2 poles. It's very rare. She's going to get 1. Most coaches don't carry 2 at a time. Gilles Marguet, the French coach, running alongside, grabs another one from the Swedes. A little bit of collaboration there between the Swedes and the French. Both of them in trouble. Now they just got to settle back down, though. Yeah. Well, that's not what we want to see on the first lap, and you can, as we've spoken about, just testament to how challenging the conditions underfoot are. Let's take a look back. It's France and Sweden side by side, and as we were talking about, her Suvi Minkkinen and Ingrid Landmark-Tandervold doing so well to avoid going down themselves. Well, in the finish of the relay at Antholz at the last World Cup stop, the final day, a very similar fell happened in the finishing stretch between Hanna Uberg and Ingrid Landmark-Tandervold. It was nobody's real fault there. It was just the incidental contact in the course of racing. But what it does is it throws 2 of the best teams a little bit into tumult before they go into the shooting range, and that can just kind of make your adrenaline surge. It's hard to shoot through an adrenaline surge. Well, you say that as well, the adrenaline that'll be going around the veins of Ingrid Landmark-Tandervold, who's done so well to avoid that. It's Germany who, owing to their positioning, get away and will come into the range in the lead, followed by Finland. And well out to one side is Ingrid Landmark-Tandervold and Norway, who will now slot in behind Suvi Minkkinen. Anna Magnusson comes into the shooting range for Sweden, only ahead of about 7 teams, so she's near the back of the field. Say she lost about 6-7 seconds, but I don't think it's the time that's the issue. I think it's just trying to get yourself settled back in for this first shooting stage at the World Championships. Not a great way for them to start. So dropping down into the prone position for the first shooting stage of 2 for our first leg athletes, Julia Simon. You see the gap to Magnusson in real time. That's the damage that fall did. Just put that out of your head. See how much of a professional athlete you are. Great start for Finland, and Suvi Minkkinen will get away in the lead. Pursued closely by Poland. Slovakia going 5 for 5 as well. Canada, great start for them. Ukraine, Czechia, France having to dip into the extra rounds, but it's only 1 for Julia Simon. Great turnaround for Sweden, but Tandervold having trouble for Norway. And Sweden also having trouble. Hope she didn't fall on her rifle. She looks like the rifle's still hitting the shots. It's just trying to settle themselves down.
And it's a penalty loop for Norway, who, despite avoiding the crash, Ingrid Landmark Tandevold is going to have to head off to the penalty loop.
And that was the shaky start for Norway that they did not need to win this relay. Still not out of it, only first shooting stage. Let's settle down. We've got a lot of World Championship racing to go. But wow, what an action-packed first lap. We're talking about sickness in the off-season, and we didn't even get to that conversation before a crash basically upended this relay.
Yep, and Suvi Minkkinen, who is part of that Finnish team who struggled with illness at the end of Antholz. All the men withdrawn from the last race of the World Cup weekend as we take a look back at the shooting of Tandevold.
It's mostly just not settled. You can see that she doesn't have consistent misses anywhere. That was a consistent one at 12 o'clock, but I don't think that this is a zero problem. I think that this is just nerves getting to Tandevold. It doesn't appear to be. See this last shot? Yeah, she's out to the right. And that, you know, so what happens is when you come in to shooting range, you need to get in the same position every time. It's really hard, especially when the snow is softer, which is why they've been trying to standardize the shooting mats at different venues and make them the same. So it's soft snow conditions that might make her elbows sink a little bit deeper into the snow through the mat. That could have thrown her zero off just a little bit. Several possible problems, but Suvi Minkkinen, we were talking about her coach. He said that she particularly has been dealing with a lot of sickness, and he was unsure of her fitness. But it wasn't just the Finns. I talked to the Italian coach. I talked to the United States coach. They've all had a lot of sickness. So I think everybody's a little bit on equal footing as far as who is healthy completely coming into this World Championship and who is not.
Natalia Sadolovic, the 26-year-old who's tucked in behind Suvi Minkkinen, had that incredible fourth-place finish in the short individual in Kontiolahti, but just hasn't been able to hit the same height since.
So you've got Minkkinen in first for Finland. That is Poland. That is Sidorovic, who's had a podium finish so far this year in the opening World Cup season. And Fialkova Batovska of Slovakia also had a podium in France. So good, strong competitors challenging now France. Julia Simone making a great comeback, 9.4 seconds back now in fourth spot at 2.8K. But where is Sweden? There's Magnusson now. It seems like no matter what, Sweden's going to have a trouble in the early legs. They have all season, and here we are again. The Swedes outside the top 15 in the second lap of this relay.
And here are Norway and Tandevold.
Tandevold, just tough shooting day for her, and she's been through so much. She actually said in a recent interview with VG magazine in Norway that this has been the best year of her life. And if you follow biathlon, you kind of scratch your head and say, well, what happened? But she did get married this summer to her longtime boyfriend Trygve Markstedt, who is a clothing brand owner in Norway. And she says that, you know, she's been better at pulling her biathlete self out of her life self. But this is just going to add a little bit more stress to her life. This penalty loop that she had to ski off in this first shooting stage.
Yeah, well, no doubt the best season of Suvi Minkkinen's life. Turning 30 in Kontiolahti. Her first World Cup podium on home snow there. And, well, there was plenty of questions at the time. Was it just because of the support that she had from the home crowd? And, well, she's proved everyone wrong this season.
It's really fun when a team has momentum like that, when you aren't a superstar team and you start knocking heads with the front of the field. It's you get a big change in how you see yourself as an athlete. And the Finns are doing that this year.
Yeah. As you said, Erik Thomas Kolstad, the Finnish head coach. A Norwegian changing a lot about the team in the course of the last season so far.
But what is going through that man's mind right now? This is just not the way. When you're Norway, you don't come here to play, you come here to win. And they are near the back of the field now, still not yet through the 3.4 kilometer mark. Tandevold 20th place, 59 seconds back. Now let's look at this in terms less of place and more of time as they come in to shoot for number 2. Vandervold is still 59 seconds back. In terms of raw time for the entire race, that's not that much. And she's got people coming after her who can make up that 59 seconds. So she's got to calm down, got to come in and just go back to being the biathlete that she is and hit the targets.
Well, we were talking before we came on air about what we described as hot take podiums. And well, as our front three come into the range, this is not a trio you might have been expecting to be leading, as our first leg athletes come in for their second shoot in the standing position. Suvi Minkinen. Minkinen quick, good cadence today. Miss for Poland, and Minkinen 10 for 10.
She is laser focused. That is great shooting for Minkinen. Her ski question isn't even a problem now. She's shooting so well that she's doing it all on the range. She gives Finland a nice lead, and look who pops into second.
Well, how much confidence will this give Suvi Minkinen for the rest of the week? Not really knowing where her fitness is at. That's telling. Julia Simon pushing France back up into second, and Sidorovic holding third. Hannah Ockenthaler in Italy are up into fourth.
Still teams coming in to shoot. Watching the shooting of Vandervold and Magnussen. Vandervold yet to shoot. There she is.
Magnussen 5 for 5.
Time ticking away. To look at the time, 43 seconds, and Norway still on the range. One more extra round, 2 more extra rounds for Norway, and Vandervold's problems just keep coming. 3 shots. She's got 3 extra rounds to hit these 3 red dots you see at the Norway graphic. Gets the first, but look at the time. It's over a minute now. Norway's hopes lying largely on whether these 2 shots go down, and there's a missed penalty loop for Vandervold. And you just got to kind of feel for her. 1 penalty loop, and they're going to be well back at the exchange, near the bottom of the heap.
Yep, work for Lenzerheide, who just saw a shot of to do. Great Britain get away without a penalty loop. Looking back at the shooting of Suvi Minkinen, her cadence, Chad, is excellent. And you can't ask much more than that. It's a great day in the office.
Yeah, she was very patient with the setup, very patient with all the things surrounding the shooting. But once she got into the shooting, the rhythm was good. And we have to point out, the altitude here is relatively high. It's a little bit lower than Antholz, where they're used to going. So it's the second highest place they've been. As we see now, the Norwegians come out in 23rd spot, 159 back. And that is a big hole that is going to be tough to fill.
Yeah, second from bottom in the order. Not where we expected Norway to be at all. The predictor challenge going on this week, and Lisa Vitozzi had pinned her hopes on the Norwegians.
Here comes the pass now from Julia Simon. You can see Minkinen doesn't have an answer, but Minkinen has done the job. She just got to try to stay as close to Simon as she can on this lap, but what a great start for Simon. A little bit shaky with that fall. She shook that off, and now leads. Great composure.
Yeah, well, Julia Simon, she brushed off a lot of demons in Antholz. She said it was some of the best racing she's ever done, and you can see, particularly after that 5th place in Antholz, the weight truly lifted off her shoulders. Second in the pursuit, and mentally she seems back to a very good place. And when you look at her shooting as well, in a really good position. She hands over to Lou Jean-Monod, who, well, dominant in the last trimester 2, and particularly in Antholz, doing the sprint pursuit double.
Yes, Simone started the season with a dip in both her skiing and her shooting performance. Now, Minkinen, she's not pulled away from Minkinen. That's a good call by Minkinen to just try to stay there and make sure that she doesn't get away. Give her second leg skier. Finland will hand off to Sonja Leinamo, who's actually the same ski speed statistically as Suvi Minkinen, a -2. She'll go up against the France's Lou Jean-Monod, who's 2% faster than the Finn second leg.
And actually, through the last trimester of skiing, it was Sonja Leinamo who was quicker than Suvi Minkinen.
Minkinen giving up a little bit of space here as they head downhill into the stadium. But it's France and Finland, the two F teams on the front of the field, and Poland sitting in 12th. That's a good start for them with Sidorovic. We've seen some great stuff from her earlier this season.
Selina Gautier and Germany down in 7th. 4 missed shots. But, staying out of the penalty loop. Tight corner as they come around the bottom of the stand and into the stadium, parallel to the range. And a big final push from Julia Simon and from Suvi Minkkinen as well. It's Finland and France who will hand over together. Leinamo and Jean Monod who pick up the batons. The second leg athletes. A dramatic start to proceedings here in Lenzerheide 2025. Poland, next team to hand over, and you can see just how chaotic it gets in exchange. Italy up in the mix as well. Germany hand over. Czechia, Slovakia. But particularly when you look at Czechia, Chad, the 2 male athletes in their team had a really strong finish to trimester 2, Vítězslav Hornig and Kličmar.
Yeah, if Vobornikova can hang on here, just hang on to the top of the field. The 2 Czech skiers at the back of the field are very experienced and very good. Vítězslav Hornig, currently ranked 20th in the world. He was out of the top 50 last year, and he's having a great season as the 25-year-old kind of breaking out. And then you've got the veteran Mikhail Kritzmar at 34 years of age. He's already got a bronze medal at the World Championships in this event from a few years back, though.
Yep. Third in Antholz in 2020. 14th, though, at the World Championships in Novo Mesto last season.
Yeah, the Czech program is one that always has a good feeder system. It's just a matter of finding the talent. Right now, they're missing their star female skier as well. The world champion Markéta Davidová having a bad back pretty much most of the season. We saw her early on. She had a win early in the season, and then just disappeared, and she hasn't been back on the field. But Czech doing just fine without her so far.
Yeah, and particularly in an event like this, Markéta Davidová and her sprint speed is something you'd think would be really sorely missed, but they've made a very good start.
Here now is the Thunderbolt at the front of this group, moving up a place, moving up from 20th to it looks like 19th at the exchange will be, no, the United States will come in first, so she'll still be in 20th. And the Norwegians have 3 legs to make up 2 minutes and 11 seconds.
Great Britain handing over as well. Shauna Pendry over to the junior athlete, Chloe Dupont. Great British team having to call on some help from the Australians as their van broke down on the way to Lenzerheide. But opportunities like this, Chad, the single mixed and the mixed relays, where we get to see some of our smaller nations shine.
Right. The great thing about the mixed relay is that you don't have to go very deep in the charts. It's very hard for a smaller biathlon nation like Great Britain or even the United States to put it in context there, or Finland, for example, who's currently in the medals. It's very hard to go 4 deep on the women, 4 deep on the men and contend. The great thing about this mixed relay when it came into existence in 2005 at the first World Championships is it gives more depth and chances at relay medals. And you think about that, the fact that Kritzmar has a World Championship medal. This is the only race he's ever. He's also got a bronze medal in the Olympics individually, but this gave him a chance to give Czech Republic a bronze medal 3 World Championships ago, and you see that happen time and time again. Italy, another benefactor. You see Dorothea Viera on the left side of your screen, that light blue suit. The Italians are very good at this event.
They have struggled overall in the relay so far this season, though, the Italians. As we see Dorothea Viera 27.5 seconds down on the time of Lou Jean Monod. And Sonja Leinamo being slowly caught by this group of 5 behind, which includes Franziska Preuss. And Haki Gloss. Switzerland. They're down in 8th, just inside 50 seconds behind the time of the leader, Anna-Maria Lampic. You can see in the bright green and blue, you have Slovenia on this leg. And there's Hannah Urberg in 12th, and she has a huge amount of work to do. Chad, you reminded me of a quote from her this week where she said how important it is to get medals early on in World Championships, even if it is a team event, if it's the mixed relay, that really settles your nerve and sets the tone for the rest of the championships. But Sweden, they'll have to work incredibly hard, and a lot of weight now falling on the shoulders of course, Hanna Öberg, who's out at the moment, but Martin Ponsiluoma, and someone who's saved them on a number of occasions so far this season in Sebastian Samuelsson.
The Swedish model for the World Championships is to peak for the World Championships. You sense that from the early season results of Sweden, that they haven't been quite as on task or on point as they need to be, but you always wait for the Swedes to emerge at the World Championships. So you expected almost of the Swedish team to come here and shine. So to be a minute back after leg one, yeah, it's kind of a concern, but we've seen Sweden do this already so many times this year, and they supposedly weren't even in top form yet. Yep. So we'll see. Jury's still out on Sweden, folks.
Yeah.
Norway, not so much right now.
Don't count them out yet. Yes, of course, Norway, a different matter. But it is Stella Holmberg and Johannes Tinges Bo on the final two legs, who of course, flying high, Stella in particular, in the World Cup rankings, pulling on the yellow bib just before we took a break from that competition to move into World Championship season. Here's Lou Jean-Monod.
Yeah, Norway now has twice the proposition in time of the Swedes to catch back up. Jean-Monod, though, solid prone shooter, 88% so far this season from the prone position, and she's got a comfortable lead now over the Finn, Leinamo.
Third most accurate shooter in trimester 2. Starts with a hit.
Oh, near miss at 3 o'clock. Dead center last two. Coach likes what he sees. Good composure. Look at the time lost by Finland in that first loop. Leinamo left the shooting range with Jean-Monod.
Coming in on the back of this group. Miss for Preuss and Germany. She adjusts her sights. Miss for Finland. Poland, the only team in the range at the moment who have the ability to go clean, and they do. This is really strong work from the Polish team.
Kamila Zuk, 27-year-old veteran of the team, rising to the occasion. The Poles in second spot. Germany trying to get back into it. Clean shooting by Franziska Preuss. 5 for 5.
Yep, had to drop once into the extra rounds. Finland left stalling in the range, and it will be at least one penalty loop.
That's how quickly your fortunes change in the relays. Sweden's 2 for 2, trying to eat out just any second you can get now. This is exactly what Hanna Öberg has to do. Clean shooting. It didn't have to be fast, didn't have to be fancy, but she had to put them down, and she did. Sweden still in damage control mode, but doing well with it.
Yep, they're climbing. We've seen Hanna Öberg in this situation already this season, and that was in the mixed relay in Oberhof. It was a reverse of the order. It was the men who led out the race, followed by the women, and well, she had to do a huge amount of work with her sister Elvira.
Yeah, and when Hanna Öberg is in good shape, she is formidable. We've not seen her. She started the season in pretty poor shape, coming off of sickness in the late fall, in October and November. And anytime you get ill or sick in the sport, it's like being injured in any other sport that requires power or speed or something like a American football player. That injury holds them back from playing. But illness can hold you out of the race completely here in endurance sports.
Lenzerheide of Norway.
Thought we might be crowning her first World Championship medal today with the team she has, but so far back now. Just has to do what she can, and she starts with a miss.
USA away after one extra bullet.
Moving to 19th spot as Norway goes clean with one extra round. But again, Lenzerheide not really making any ground on anybody there. At least no significant amount.
Well, it's a huge amount of pressure already on the shoulders of the 21-year-old. Her World Championships debut. Previous youth world champion
Well, if you look at this group now, you could go back almost a decade and you'd see the two people at the front of this group, and you would have seen them at the front of a World Cup. At the front is Slovakia in second leg, Anastasia Kuzmina. She's a 3-time Olympic champion. She two-peated or defended her 10-kilometer sprint from 2010 to the 2014 Olympics. Kuzmina went out of the sport, was retired for about, I think, 3 years, had a child, and she came back last season. Now, she has not been anywhere near the athlete she was back then when she was an Olympic champion, but she is 40 years old, and she's rounding into some form now, and she's actually giving a good challenge to these younger athletes.
Yeah, leading this chasing pack of 5. 38.4 seconds down on the time of Lou Jean-Monod. Kuzmina breaking the world record for the oldest female biathlete to win points on the World Cup circuit.
Jean-Monod making a huge amount of time on that first lap on Leinamo. Almost looks like Leinamo may have fallen. We didn't catch anything, but it's hard to believe that she put that much time on Leinamo in the first lap. So Jean-Monod is all by her lonesome now, 30 seconds up on the field.
And when you think about it, this is a French team, of course, who have had to come back from that collision. Julia Simon losing both her poles as well.
Well, I think that's going to be the highlight of the day.
Oh.
If France pulls this off, you have to go back to... It's rare that you see somebody on an uphill with no poles.
Yeah.
You see one pole broken, but 2 poles, both her poles obliterated in that crash. And she has them back in the lead, and there's a comfortable lead now. It's over 40 seconds now from Jean-Monod to the chasers.
But if you're going to find someone in that position, you know that Julia Simon has the mental acuity to really fight back from those kinds of situations. So Lou Jean-Monod on her way into the range for the second time.
Great situation for France. If you're the coach of the French team, you just love this. You want to get Emilien Jacquelin as big of a lead as you can because he can bring them home with no problem. But you don't want to have somebody chasing Emilien Jacquelin. At this point, Lou Jean-Monod's job and Eric Perrault's job is just to get to the exchange, the final exchange, with about 30 seconds on the field. They've already got that in shooting number 4.
You can hear the deep breaths of Lou Jean-Monod. Oh, just scraping in.
A little bit of self-doubt coming in there, but France so far, 1 extra round on the day. That's not bad.
No, not at all.
That'll put them to 2 extra rounds now for the team. 1 per leg, basically. Look at the snow, though. It's getting deep, and it's only going to get worse as the men go. Now the battle for the silver and the bronze comes down to Kuzmina, the 40-year-old veteran against a 36-year-old veteran in Dorothy, or 35-year-old veteran Dorothy Veer, and Preuss, the World Cup leader overall.
Miss for Vera.
The underdogs, Czech and Pole, are the cleanest athletes so far. Czech is clean.
Poland clean as well. Germany with a miss. Dorothea Viera of Italy now away after going once into the extra rounds. Slovakia slower on the shooting, but not having to use any extra bullets.
One of the beautiful things about being an underdog is that you can not care quite as much. There's a little less pressure on you, and the underdog teams are doing great.
Miss for Sweden. Switzerland with a miss as well. Belgium, who was a squad to have very good accuracy through the course of the first 2 trimesters, they're now away.
Hanna Öberg misses her 2nd extra round, so more time wasted. That round needed to be loaded.
And it's a penalty loop. It's a penalty loop for Sweden, and the challenge just begins to mount once again after good work to try and close the gap, climb up the order. It's once around the 150-meter penalty loop for Hanna Öberg.
One of the issues here for Sweden as Öberg loses more time is that for the men, they only have 6 kilometers to work with, and it's very soft snow. it's going to be very hard for them to make up the time on the field in front of them if it's more than a minute at the second exchange. It looks like it's going to be well more than that now. They're at almost 2 minutes. 1:52 is the time. So Uber came into that shooting range, that shooting stage 1:14 back and leaves 1:52 back. Don't have to be a math whiz to know that that's bad math for your team if you're Sweden.
The only team with a penalty loop in the top 10, Anna Gandler and Austria rounding out the top 10, but they're 2 minutes and 5 seconds down. That's better from Norway and Czechheide. 5 for 5.
Seeing the pass here, this is Preuss flexing her muscle on the Olympic champion. Kuzmina is thinking, yeah, youngster, I could have challenged you a few years back, but she's still doing a great job keeping Slovakia in the running. But to put that in perspective, Oleander Bjørndalen actually won the Olympics at 40 years old in the sprint in 2014, so it's been done.
Well, we saw him yesterday in the media race as well for the TV experts, and still looked like he could throw down a good time that could challenge on the IBU Cup.
Well, I think he could probably ski a leg for a lot of teams right now, and a lot of teams would be plenty happy to have Bjørndalen with their team.
So Lujan Minot already through 10.8 kilometers, and Dorothea Vera seeing Italy up into second. Bornikova of Czechia in third, Preuss fighting back and up into fourth. Kamila Zuk in fifth for Poland. Kuzmina fighting away. Just, Chad, you can see it so evidently on that climb, just how challenging it is with the soft snow.
Yeah, Kuzmina's just going to get to the top of the hill. Her wheels are coming off of her for form right now. This deep snow is not helping. But the deep snow is helping Lujan Minot pull away from the rest of the field. Her fitness is superior. She can use these tough conditions to actually pull more time out of the field because her fitness is so superior. When you're fit and the conditions get tough, it gets tougher for the people who are less fit than you. You can start pulling the time out of the field.
Well, we saw the early signs, particularly for the French women in Antholz. They just responded so well to the altitude. And I know, of course, we're not as high as we were in Antholz here, but that summer training and big summer training block they put in at altitude seems to have done the world of good, and the athletes able to draw on that. As round the corner comes Lujan Minot, and into exchange it's Eric Perrault, part of the World Championship winning quartet in Nové Mesto this time last year, and a huge final push from Lujan Minot. She was flying in to tag off Eric Perrault.
Lujan Minot left the shooting range ahead of the Czech Republic by 38.9 seconds. Czechia sitting second now at the 11.4 kilometer mark. Czechia has fallen behind Italy. There you see the second and third place teams, and they're pulling time out of everybody else except Preuss. They're actually pulling a couple seconds out of Preuss at the last time check as well. So these two are moving very well.
Dorothea Vera will hand over to the very experienced Lucas Hopper, and then to bring Italy home, they have the in-form Tommaso Giacomel, with confidence just cruising through his veins after great performances in Antholz. For Bornikova, handing over to Vítězslav Hornig, who himself had a good end to trimester 2. Germany handover as well, 54.9 seconds down.
Pretty even matchup there for the silver and bronze between Italy and Czech in the third legs. Got the 20th ranked athlete in the world from Czech Republic in Vítězslav Hornig, but he's going up against a very experienced Lucas Hopper. He's already got 3 World Championship medals in his drawer at home. Hopper, 35 years of age, at ranked 29th, just 9 places behind the young Czechman. That's going to be a one to watch here.
And particularly when we talk about, of course, likes of Elisa Gasparin, and then, of course, we have to say the Bo brothers retiring at the end of the season. This, their last World Championships, but then you look at those who might retire after the Olympics in Milan Cortina this time next year, and we know, of course, that's something that a lot of people have spoken about with regards to Dorothea Viera. Could you see Lucas Hofer doing the same thing? Maybe. This could be their last World Championships as well. They'll want to go home with as much of a haul as they can.
I don't think Hofer would be doing this if the Olympics weren't in this home venue next year. So I would absolutely expect that. But Italy's got a bright future, and we're going to see that in the next leg. If Hofer can get the baton, the at least inferred baton, to his teammate Tommaso Giacomel, you're going to see a great star of the future on the final leg for Italy. Let's see if they can create some fireworks. They're currently sitting in the silver medal position, and young Vyacheslav Hornig, 25 years of age, having the season of his career, is now in position to do something great for Czech Republic.
Austria have just handed over in front of us. It's Simon Eder, the 41-year-old. He picks up the baton from Anna Gandler. Malenka Kida over to Sturla Holmla-Glide, who called on the yellow bib in the World Cup just before we moved into the break before the World Championships. And the #1 ranked athlete in the world now has a huge amount of work to do. A fitting bib to wear today, bib number 3, denoted by the yellow on the front of his chest.
Well, Lou Jean Monod was the fastest time of that leg by 26 seconds. A full penalty loop and maybe a few seconds. Veer was second fastest, and Kierkegaard did her job, but she didn't eat up any time to anybody else because she skied even with Veer for that leg.
Well, the French team know they want to give Emilien Jacquelin, who's been such a reliable anchor for the men's relay team. 4 out of 4 they've won on the World Cup circuit on the men's side this season. Undefeated.
I think Jacquelin needs a lead, though. Jacquelin has proven in the past that when he gets into a mental battle in a relay performance, he has rarely come out the better of the multiple athletes on that last shooting stage. So the French coaches know, keep the lead if you can, Eric Perrault.
Yep. And try and grow it as well. I'm sure the advice would be, and he's more than capable of that. Navrat down in 4th for Germany. The 31-year-old turning 32 tomorrow, celebrating his birthday here in Lenzerheide.
At Germany, we haven't talked much about them.
No.
We saw Francisco Preuss, but they definitely have Justus Strelo going last for them. Justus Strelo, if I had to characterize what he does for a biathlon team at this level, he is a classic relay person. He skis a couple of % slower than the average of the field, but he's a great and fast, clean shooter, and that is what a relay needs. So Germany just needs to stay close.
Yeah, a slight wobble at the start of the season, but Justus Strelo, after, well, being clear as the best shooter last season, but back on track in terms of his accuracy and hit percentage now.
Eric Perrault for France, he's 87% from the prone position. He's actually a better standing shooter. He's 97% accurate this year. Insane. That is if you've ever done biathlon, 97% standing, or 94% standing. It's mind-boggling. He's hardly missing a shot at all this season from the standing position.
So it's prone first for Eric Perrault.
Getting a good look at his teammates' shots. Solid hit at 2 o'clock. Almost out at 6. Almost out at 6 again. Right on the edge at 5. Right on the edge at 3. They weren't great shots, but they were good enough to get him to out of the shooting range clean in 5.
That's all he needs to do. A confident nod of the head from Jean-Paul Giacchino.
Oh, this is some tough skiing. It's getting soft out there. Perrault light on his skis. This is probably an advantage for him. Slighter build. He dances on his skis very well. For a guy like Navrat, he kind of pounces and really accentuates power out of the track. You don't want to be so powerful there. You want to kind of dance on the soft snow.
Watching on is Giacomel. Czechia, Italy, and Germany. Italy with a miss. 2 misses. Miss for Germany as well. Czechia just taking their time.
Hornig.
Oh, that's nice from Vyacheslav Hornig. That's really good indeed. And it's giving him an advantage.
You know, every athlete has to have a breakout point. Italy now, Hofer having trouble. Germany gets away with an extra round. Now Hofer has to hit these two or he puts Italy out of the contention entirely. And he's got Tommaso Giacomel coming next, who should be able to contend, but he's got to hit the shot. If he goes to the penalty loop, I think it's done for Italy.
Sebastian Stolder
taking
as well
his time.
Too. And that's better from Hofer. He was under pressure and, well, he delivered on that last.
What I was going to say is that Vyacheslav Hornig, at 25 years of age, has not done anything great beyond some medals at the Junior World Championships. He's not really featured on the World Cup. But this is an opportunity for him to have that moment where he steps onto the world stage and becomes a name that we know.
Well, he'll benefit so much from the confidence that he had from the results in Antolz.
Oh, and Martin Ponsel adding a little insult to injury, trying to make up a 2-minute deficit for Sweden. And he goes to another extra round.
Yeah, and struggling to reload the bullet as well. So extra time taken up there. Just one extra round needed, though. Here's still a Holmler glide. Quick and clean.
At this point, this is just a time trial for Lagride. He's over 2 minutes back. Even with the great Johannes Tingnes-Bø, the two of these guys can't erase this deficit. This is going to be, Norway's going to have to just do their thing, get to the finish line, and fight for another day.
Shooting of Eric Perrault. Great look over the shoulder of the young Frenchman.
So we got a nice race building up for the silver and bronze. 55 seconds from France to Hornig, the gap from first to second. Then it's just 10 seconds from Hornig to Navrath in Germany, and then another 17 seconds from Navrath to Hofer and Sklenarik of Slovakia, who now snuck ahead of Switzerland and Poland. Pro looking really good. I like how he's carrying his speed. It's so easy to sit too far back in the snow, but you also don't want to get too far forward. It's a very different type of skiing when it's this sloppy and when it's hard and firm. You have to actually be able to feather your body position to the skis to glide optimally and carry your momentum through snow like this. And it's variable. In the shade here, it might not be quite as bad, so you have to adjust in your glide phase of your kick and figure out where to put your body, and Perrault is a master at that.
We're still waiting on the next athlete to come through. 15.4 kilometers at 14.8. It was 10 seconds that Eric Perrault has gained since exchange.
Here's Hornig now.
Keep your eyes on the time. Will it be? Well, it's just inside a minute.
He's lost 2 seconds. It's nothing to write home about from Hornig. He's doing a good job.
But that's between 14.8 and 15.4 when in the overall picture of it since exchange number 3.
He's only lost...
since exchange 2 even, it's over 10 seconds, 12 seconds that Eric Perrault has gained at the front of the field.
Just hold it together. This is one of the best standing shooters in the world. I'm feeling very confident right now if I'm standing behind the scope for the French coaching staff. Prone hit. Just inside at 4, just inside at 3. He knows it's close. He knew he was close. He resettles. Almost in the prone ring at 10, and almost a miss again at 3. The coach is just psyched. Lou Jean-Minot is psyched.
And a smile from Lou Jean-Minot, and you could tell that focus, the twitch in the eyebrow was so Lou Jean-Minot-like from Eric Perrault.
France doing it again. 2 missed, 2 extra rounds only to shooting 6. 2 more shooting stages to go, and the French are almost perfect on the shooting range.
A superb day. And, well, he can quite comfortably take his time to adjust his poles and his strapping there. Jean-Pierre Armand said before Le Grand Bourgnon and the racing just before Christmas that they've put a real emphasis this season on improving the shooting. Not so much for the World Championships, but with one eye on the Olympics next year. And it is paying off in its dividends.
France is away for the goal, but now we've got a pressure cooker, and these guys have to think white thoughts, think clean. Miss for Hornig, right out of the bat. Miss for Germany.
Yeah.
Hofer with a chance to fight back now for Italy. Another miss for Germany.
3 misses for Philipp Navrat. So he needs to be perfect from here on in to ensure Germany don't take a visit to the penalty loop. It's another miss for Hornig and Czechia. So they need to be perfect as well.
You know,
just one for Italy, 1 miss, and they could be back in the driving seat for a medal.
And this is the one guy on the range who lives at altitude, gets 5 for 5, and Italy's back in it. He feels at home at this altitude. Hofer handling the altitude just fine.
Well, what a recovery. Lucas Hofer delivering when his team needed. Just under 2 kilometers to go for Lucas Hofer, and he can hand over to Tommaso Giacomel.
Oh, it's a good race for second, third. Swiss team gets the crowd roaring. They know that Switzerland is within a reasonable time to get in the medals picture still, as Slovakia goes through in 5th.
And particularly as well when we talk about Tommaso Giacomel, someone who hasn't quite hit the same heights in terms of podiums, but Nicholas Hartweg is on the last leg for Switzerland. The local lad who would love to perform on a venue that's so close to his heart. Sterle Humle Glide flying through the rounds. Miss on the last, as do Belgium.
And don't look now, but 45 seconds out of the silver medal is Martin Ponsiluoma of Sweden. They could be in it still to it as well.
Yeah, Sebastian Samuelsson so regularly has dragged Sweden out from some of the darkest moments.
We can't lose sight of Sweden yet. They're still in it now. Martin Ponsiluoma pulling the rabbit out of a hat in his leg somehow. Even with missed shots, he still has the Swedes in contention if the people in front of him miss shots.
And we just need him to replicate that. When it comes to individual competitions, it's been such a mental battle for Martin Ponsiluoma this season. We'd love to see him back to his best, firing on all cylinders and providing us a huge amount of entertainment, as he has done over the course of the last 5 years.
I love that Switzerland is back in this as well for a medal. This is gonna light up the crowd when they see the red suits come around in 6th spot. It's not that far out of the medals with 2 shooting stages left.
So we won't see a huge amount of Eric Perrault from here on in, because we have this excellent battle for the medals. Lucas Hofer ahead of Philipp Navrat and Vítězslav Hornig.
And Hofer is doing it.
Look at him go.
He's pushing hard over the top. He knows it's slow conditions. You want to push over the top and get a little bit more glide than Navrat. Navrat has no answer, nor does Hornig.
Well, he's caught them completely unawares there. A brief look over the shoulder as well. Here is Eric Perrault, who hands over to Emilien Jacquelin, who has anchored 4 gold medal winning French teams on the men's relay side in the World Cup this season. 4 unanswered victories. And this is exactly the lead that France were looking to give him.
It's exactly the kind of lead that they need to give him. Emilien Jacquelin is spectacular, but he also has a penchant for giving away relays late in the race. But today he is where he wants to be, and the Italian Hofer still pushing for the line for the Italians, and Hornig now fighting to catch back up. No real answer from the German Navrat, just doing damage control, trying to get to the exchange as fast as possible.
Just ahead of where we're positioned, Tommaso Giacomel rolling out into the exchange.
This is a pretty big difference in skill sets of the people chasing. You've got in the last leg Tommaso Giacomel, who's one of the fastest skiers in the field, up against Justus Strelo, one of the best shooters in the field, between Germany and Italy. And then the Czechs have Michal Krčmar, He was a 91% prone shooter and 77% standing shooter. Witzmar has a lot of experience in relays.
Yeah, and he was part of the bronze medal winning quartet in Antholz in 2020. That's exactly who Czechia want on this final leg. So our final leg athletes away in the battle.
Less than 2 seconds separating second from fourth. And then the time ticks away. Can anybody put in any late theatrics and get into the medal picture? This is the first team to throw their hat into the ring, the home team, Switzerland.
Nicholas Hartweg.
Oh, it's not. It's Germany's next, or Sweden's next.
Sweden as Sebastian Samuelsson receives the baton from Martin Ponsaloma, and that's a job well done. So Sweden in fifth, and by no means out of the battle for the podium. Just over 30 seconds behind Germany. Switzerland have handed over now as Johannes Tinger's boat just slides into the picture. Sturla Holmlagride has given absolutely everything to try and catapult Norway up the order. You really struggle to see that, barring any disasters ahead, it will be enough to find them on the podium today.
Well, Martin Ponsaloma had a pretty spectacular leg, but he was still outdone by a man not in the picture. Sturla Holmlagride for Norway still put down the best leg 3, but Ponsaloma pouncing on the skis was 10 seconds faster than anybody on the ski course.
And here are our chasers, the battle for the podium. And one of the things that I really liked from what we saw of Tommaso Giacomel, Chad, in Antholz, was his racing mindset and the way that on the climbs he'd surge past Talia Bow, and he didn't seem out of place at all with so many of the big names, these really decorated athletes around him. His mental ability to race, his tactical mindset was so impressive considering the start of the season he's had.
Yeah, he sees himself in a big way. You can see that he's young, but he sees himself as a great athlete. He's not he doesn't cower under the pressure and the lights of being in a hard situation. And here he goes to the front of the field. And if he's smart, he may want to try to pull away from these two athletes because he's got the physicality to do it.
Well, we saw how much he loves to climb in Antholz, driving up the slopes and turning the screw, but not really getting away.
And it is challenging to get away when it is so soft, and you're trying to determine how hard do I really want to drop these guys before I shoot in these warm conditions. Giacomel seems okay to have company so far. But one thing you got to watch is this guy coming from behind. If he starts making time on the Italian, the coaches will get on the radio and say, all right, Tommaso, might want to light a fire.
Well, we've seen, of course, Sebastian Samuelsson do so many great things for this Swedish team this season. Chad, how much will his ability to really show his best in terms of his speed will be affected by the conditions today?
I think for Sebastian Samuelsson, this is a good condition for him. He kind of grinds through. He doesn't have a great ski technique on fast courses. Where he puts his body weight, he puts a lot of power behind, he forces his ski through the soft snow. I actually think this is the best conditions for him. Advantage Samuelsson in the soft snow.
And that's only advantage for the minor positions on the podium, because it's France and Emilien Jacquelin in the driving seat.
The only person who can take this relay from France is Jacquelin himself.
Yeah.
Leaning a little left and high there. Solid. No concerns.
Nope. And a very happy Eric Perrault.
And it's still only the third extra round that France has used it today. This is how you win relays, Ellen.
It is indeed.
You hit the targets.
Well, I'm regretting not putting them as the best shooters of the day on the Predictor Challenge. Do download the IBU app. A chance to win a VIP biathlon weekend and get your predictions in. Test yourself against the experts.
All right, now an unexpected medal from any of these teams. I mean, I think that all these three teams chasing, Italy, Germany, and Czech Republic, all could have thought, well, with an outside chance, we could win a medal today. Now the reality is facing them. It's not going to be gold, not yet anyway.
And it's head-to-head shooting to try and get there. And just outside of the picture, but we can see and hear the response as he comes into the ranges. Sebastian Samuelsson around the corner. Won't be long before he drops down onto the mat.
Look at how fast Strelo jumped to that first shot. He's got four down before anybody did. The answer, he's gone. Strelo, that is why you put Strelo in a relay.
That is superb. Italy left stalling. Tommaso Giacomel with 2 missed shots. Klitschmar have to drop into the extra rounds, and it has to be perfect from here on in now for Italy if they're going to stay out of the penalty loops. And, well, it's now, you have to say, advantage some way to Sebastian Samuelsson.
Sebastian has to hit all these and get out of there as fast as he can. He can't afford a missed shot if he wants to be on the podium.
And it's penalty loop for Italy. And Sebastian Samuelsson's clean with 5. As Johannes Tingersbo pulls up and drops down into the prone position next to Niklas Hartberg.
We're going to be telling Tommaso Giacomel's story another day as he goes to the penalty loop. Johannes Tingersbo now in the range, trying to challenge for at least getting Norway back into the top 5. Good stuff from the Norwegian, to be expected. There's Tommaso Giacomel.
He'll come out with Johannes Tingersbo. The Norwegian will have to wait another day to try and pull ahead of Oleana Bjørndalen in the overall titles won at the World Championships. They're level on 20.
Well, I think that was a duel that Giacomel would have savored if it was for a World Championship medal. Now he's just back in familiar territory racing against the great Johannes Tingersbo, but it's well back of the medals now. They are outside the medals by 47 seconds.
And then 23 seconds separating Sebastian Samuelsson and Klitschmar of Czechia. That's the battle for 3rd.
Well, Klitschmar is really doesn't have any advantage on the skis to Strelo. We talk about Strelo like he's not that fast. He's still just as fast as Klitschmar. He's just not Emilio Jacquelin or Johannes Tingersbo fast. Strelo all by himself. He's built the lead he needs with fast setup time, fast to the first shot, and just pressuring everybody else to miss at this high altitude venue. You can see
93 seconds, yeah.
Looks relatively pedestrian. He's not really pushing his pace.
Sebastian Samuelsson comes into picture. Klitschmar 1 minute, 42 seconds.
Strelo losing 22 seconds to that time check from Jacquelin since the shooting range. So Strelo now getting into that territory where he might want to save a little bit of something for that last loop, because he's certainly being outskied by Klitschmar and Samuelsson.
And Samuelsson isn't closing the gap to Emilien Jacquelin, but Klitschmar is falling backwards and into the reach of Sebastian Samuelsson.
And Samuelsson loves these situations as we now go to the leaders back at the front. 1:30 ahead at the 20.8 kilometer mark. Emilien Jacquelin all by himself to take home the gold for France.
The reigning champions. Everyone in the French team desperate to be part of this mixed relay team. So much in the press this week around who would take up the 4 spots on the team. But you can't deny the form, particularly on the anchor legs, that Emilien Jacquelin has been in this season.
Taking a bit of a chance. Now he's 3 shots to hit 2 targets that are left standing. And he's got a bit, now he's in trouble. Now he's in trouble. This is not, I felt that was a little bit brash what he did there. Now you can see the shaking, and he's got a penalty loop. And let's not gift wrap this yet.
Well, he still has the time, but it needs to be just 1, and it is just 1.
You can see he could not afford any more time than he had. Well, Germany now still just entering the stadium, so Jacqueline will be out of the penalty loop. He will ski home with it, but still a little shaky for my taste.
Yeah. France will retain their title. And it will once again be Emilien Jacqueline who anchors home a French quartet. Formidable on the men's side this season. They haven't won a mixed relay yet until now.
Well, the French just went from a 0+3 on the shooting grid to a 1+6. It's going to sting a little bit for Emilien Jacqueline. It'll still be a gold medal, but it's going to put a little bit of doubt in the back of his mind for any last standing stage this entire championship, because he faltered a little bit there.
What was I saying about including them in my my predictor challenge?
Now for the silver, bronze. 3 teams. Sebastian Samuelsson enters the range. Strelo trying to put this to bed for Germany.
Oh, that's great. Celebrations in the German team.
You could have timed a rap song to that cadence. Beautifully done by Strelo.
The door opening up for Sebastian Samuelsson, but he's on 2 misses now.
And Norway's there.
Johannes Tingesbo. Czechia away. And it needs to be a big final push from Michael Kretschmar. Norway and Johannes Tingesbo a clean 5 for 5, and he will have the athlete from Czechia in his sights. Behind him, though, is Sebastian Samuelsson.
It's still possible. It's still possible. 9 seconds to Kretschmar. In fact, I'd say this leans towards Norway or Sweden for the bronze. There's the gap to 3rd place.
Well, what a redemption this would be for the Norwegian team.
And look who's in tow as well. This home team from Switzerland, and Niklas Hartweg has Switzerland in the mix for a bronze medal.
Lives here in Lenzerheide, used to training in these conditions. Such a special connection, a family connection to this stadium. But it is Johannes Tingesbo who looks like he's starting to pull away. And you can see them as they emerge through the trees. The Czech coach chasing after Kretschmar, trying to urge him on. There'll be no denying who our victors are today. It's France, once again, back-to-back world champions, despite a changed team. But the hunger from each and every one of the French athletes to compete in this event, well, so telling of the shape and the form and the desire to win medals here at Lenzerheide 2025. Emilien Jacqueline through 22.8 kilometers. He's lost some of his advantage, but when they went out of shooting 8, it was still a minute that he had over Justus Strelo in Germany, despite a visit to the penalty loop.
Here's the fight for the silver and bronze. Kretschmar is actually pushing forward, trying to take the silver from Strelo. And then at the back of the group, there's Norway and Sweden. This is going to be a drag race to the finish.
I'm not even looking at Germany at this point. My eyes were focused on the corner and just waiting for Johannes Tingesbo and Sebastian Samuelsson to round it.
Oh, this is brutal. It's so close for these last 2 medals. Strelo trying to hang on. Trying to catch him is Kretschmar. Kretschmar probably knows who's chasing from behind, and he's using the German. Better skis does the Czech man have as he glides up on Strelo.
Well, look at that. He's going to go round the outside. And Kretschmar's doing it. He's round the outside. And into the stadium comes Emilien Jacqueline. A roar from the crowd as the Frenchman crosses the line. A round of applause. He points to his team, who will rush out and celebrate with him. World champions once again. And taking the first medal of Lenzerheide 2025. The first ever world champions here in Switzerland in this new format.
And Kritzmar might actually be pulling Strelo to the bronze medal in this situation. Strelo looking back, don't look back.
Shoulder. Don't look back, because Johannes Dingesbo and Sebastian Samuelsson are there.
They might be running out of real estate, though. This is the final downhill into the final climb. So they'll go down this hill, turn left, and Strelo is absolutely gassed. No real power. He drops into a tuck. He needed to push a few more times. I would say at this point, Norway and Sweden aren't going to catch Germany. Just look at body language and ski speed down this hill, the kind of speed they pulled into it. So important that you push off the top of the hill. Now Strelo's going to be moving probably 3 to 4 miles an hour slower because of a weak push over the top of the hill. Can he get to the finish before the two chasers catch him? This is going to be down to the wire. Oh, and Sebastian Samuelsson goes down!
Sebastian Samuelsson is down, but it's a historic day for Czechia. As Kritzmar pushes towards the line, he can look over the shoulder. Their best ever finish in a mixed relay of the World Championships. Germany have done enough to hold off Johannes Dingesbo, whose head rolls back. He fought so hard to try and get Norway down from 23rd up onto the medal positions. He couldn't quite do it today. Germany take bronze, Czechia a much-deserved silver medal, staying out of the penalty loop. The best shooting amongst the top 5. And a historic day for Czechia. Disappointment on the face of Niklas Hartvig as we take a look back at that incident that we saw from a distance.
He just took himself out. No contact from Bo. It was classic downhill mistake. You want to stay on your downhill ski. So when you're turning right, your downhill ski is your right leg. Or you're turning left, you want to stay on your right foot. Sebastian Samuelsson put too much pressure on his uphill ski, his left foot, and it took his other foot out. It's a classic mistake, and he paid for it.
Well, France on top of the world. They take the first medal of Lenzerheide 2025, the first world champions crowned since we've had a combined world championships. The first time Switzerland are hosting. And, well, a disappointed look over the shoulder from Tommaso Giacomel. It all fell apart in the first visit to the range. Not to be today for Italy.
You know, I don't know that Czechia nor Germany really thought they had it. I mean, they knew they could, but they needed something else to go wrong. And plenty went wrong for the favorites in this relay. But, wow, was that a spectacular race for the medals.
Well, Czechia is their third World Championships medal in the mixed relay. And Holtz in 2020, Nové Mesto in 2013. Taking a silver medal at the Olympic Winter Games in 2014.
Belgium across the line in the top 10.
Great shooting from Ukraine. Finishing 8th.
Slovakia was in it for a while during the women's legs. They drop into the 12th spot.
Yeah, just behind Slovenia. This is Estonia.
Renee Jacquet. We're going to have a handful of lap teams from the start order of 24.
Yeah, we expect Austria to be the final team over the line in 17. 2 visits to the penalty loop. One of 3 teams who had to make more than 1 visit. Lithuania across the line. Good shooting from Lithuania as well today, you have to say. Give a nod to them.
Yeah, 0+5. They match Ukraine. It was my predictor challenge for the low shooting score, so I had a little fist pump when Petrucci came across the line. I think Lisa Vitozzi had the same call as I did.
Yeah, there you go. And Austria over the line, and that concludes the mixed relay, the first event here at Lenzerheide 2025, and well, it delivered on the drama, Chad.
You know, Ellen, the World Championship, the tension at a World Championship, it's just different. It's not the same that we see as you see the results. It was a 0.3 until the final shooting stage for France. They went to a 1.6 on their extra rounds with that penalty loop, but what a performance by the French. we're not terribly surprising, but Norway coming back, Sweden coming back, and Germany and Czechia coming away with the silver and the bronze medal. I don't think either of those teams were expecting a medal, and boy, does that take the weight off of the German program right from day one. The momentum's great, but boy, does that put as much pressure on the Norwegians and the Swedes going forward. They have a big weight on their shoulders now. Yeah, well, it was one of the Swedish team, of course, we spoke about before we got started today. Hannah Öberg saying how important it is to get medals early on in World Championships so you alleviate that weight straight away, and unable to do so today. And you can see there the results amongst our lap teams as well. The celebrations continuing for the Czech team. A day that will go down in history for them, the best ever finish as a mixed relay at the World Championships. Their second silver medal in a major competition, and their first in over a decade after taking silver in the Sochi Games in 2014. A great atmosphere here in Lenzerheide. The first day of competition. No racing tomorrow. We'll be back on Friday. But the fans packing out the stands. Always great to see on a Wednesday. And with 2 weekends, we expect it to be absolutely bouncing here. Emilien Jacquelin immediately pointing to his teammates. They set him up so well. Shake of the head, he would have wanted more from that final visit to the range. Chad, just a slight air of having the confidence of knowing that he was 1 minute 44 up at that point, and he rattled off his shot so quickly. Just didn't really give himself time to settle in between releasing each round. Yeah, he played the game of doing something spectacular when he didn't really need to, and just kind of bit him a little bit. I think it'll be fine moving forward. It's just anytime you have a rough shooting stage, it sits with you a little bit. No athlete can really overcome that. But Emilien Jacquelin is. He certainly can be spectacular shooting that quickly. We've seen him shoot all 5 like that many times to win races. But today, it was enough to get to the finish line with a comfortable lead. And no harm, no foul, we'll say. Look at the joy on the Czech team. This is an unexpected and a big result from a team that really is relatively unheralded. It's a huge result. We saw just how well Vítězslav Hornig and Michal Křičmar did at the end of trimester 1, and particularly in Antolz. You saw one of the former relay legs that was time and time again a master at the relay was Andrej Moravec and the coaching staff now for the Czech Republic. Moravec, a co-medal winner with Křičmar in these relays from years past. Moravec has moved on now to be one of the national team coaches for the Czech team, and that's got to feel good to move from athlete to coach and then see your protege carry on the tradition of Czech medals in the relays. There's that first fall in the women's first lap of this incredibly exciting relay.
Emilian, congratulations. A bit of dramatic last shooting, but a very confident win for Team France and defending the title this time. How was it?
So lucky to have this kind of guys and girls on the team. I mean, what they did is impressive. Very impressive since the beginning of the year. And yeah, I did this penalty loop. It was quite shaking. You know, it's quite hard to be alone on a shooting range with this huge gap. But anyway, for the team, there is a win. For me, I need to improve, but I think I learned from this shooting. I know what I have to adjust, but they were incredible, so I have to thank them, of course.
But that was a great start of the World Championships. Congrats again.
Thank you.
Well, Chad, Emilian Jacquelin, so regularly the spokesperson for the French team, coming out and addressing, of course, that last visit to the range. But still enough to see France take the first medal quite confidently of Lenzerheide 2025.
I think what I love most, I mean, congratulations to France and huge congratulations to Czechia and Germany. I think what I love most about this first World Championships race is it shows you just how touchy and nervous the sport of biathlon is when you move from World Cup competition into World Championship competition. It doesn't seem like much to a passive viewer or a fan, but the sport of biathlon itself really highlights those pressure moments in other sports that we kind of take for granted, like, we'll say American basketball, free throw shooting, or penalty kick taking in soccer. Imagine if every game was decided by penalty kicks in soccer and multiple ones. And that's how biathlon is under the pressure cooker. And you see big changes. You see people with no chance, with people who should not expect to win a medal, winning a medal, and then the teams who should faltering a little bit. And this is biathlon. This is why we love it.
Well, tough conditions out on the course as well. The temperature +6. We haven't had it drop below freezing yet during the day. When the majority of the teams and media touched down, it was over 10 degrees. We had it up as high as 12. And really affecting the conditions as well today.
Yeah, I've been kind of following the trend as I've noticed in the last few days. We've been here several days, and every time I come out, it gets a little bit softer. And today was alarmingly soft. In fact, that climb, that main climb on the loop, we saw the international referee for the course and another skier working for him actually snow plowing backwards down that climb to try to clear off some of that soft snow. And if they keep doing that, it could be in trouble that they run out of snow. But the temperatures are supposed to drop below freezing tonight. They're going to get down well below freezing, and they will be below freezing all the way through, at least through Friday, where my forecast ends. So I think that this is probably the one day that the organizers were a little bit concerned about with the temperature trends. But it's going to firm up now, and I would say the skis that you see these athletes racing on today, those are probably going to go in the truck and not going to come out the rest of the time they're here.
Yeah, we expect things, conditions underfoot to be a lot better on Friday. We have the women's sprint that's followed then by the men's sprint on Saturday. Double race day on Sunday with both the pursuits. And Chad, well, a word about, before we get into the Norwegian team as a whole, the job of Johannes Tingesbo, who came so close to putting them on the podium, just 3 seconds separating him from a podium position after coming back from, well, they were second to bottom when I believe Ingrid Lamarck-Tanneveld left the range for the second time.
Yeah, they were way back, and they slowed, and to be clear, not a lot was gained by anyone. A little bit gained by Lagerheide, but most of the field came back to the Norwegians more than anything. They stayed steady through the second and third legs, and then the other teams came back to Norway and gave them a shot. And Johannes Tingesbo started his leg at exchange number 3, 2:36 back, and he ends up at the finish line 1:21 back. And that's to the leaders, that's to France. So if you look at, he made up massive amounts of time. In fact, his leg was 42.6 seconds faster than Niklas Hartwig for 6 kilometers. That is astounding. Putting almost nearly a minute on the entire last leg. including Sebastian Samuelson, 46.5 seconds back. So Johannes Tinges Bø is in great shape. He just didn't have enough to work with today.
Yeah, just looking through those leg times now, 1 minute 15, quicker than Emilien Jacquelin. It is really superb, the leg that Johannes Tinges Bø put down, and the shooting as well, but not enough to force Norway onto a podium.
And not only did Johannes Tinges Bø ski fast, but he shot fast as well. His shooting time, Strelo was the fastest, but he was just 5 seconds slower than Bø, but he puts double-digit time on everyone but Pedrucini, Hiedensalo of Finland, and Strelo of Germany did Johannes Tinges Bø. So he did it in 2 ways. He made up a lot of time on the shooting range, he hit his shots, and he outskied everybody phenomenally. And that's why Norway is even in the picture. And it was almost astounding as he was coming towards the finish, and they weren't going to get a medal. I was almost going, where did they come from? Like, how did he do that? And it shows you just how impressive Johannes Tinges Bø, even when he knows a medal is not likely, he puts it all out there to try to get it. And he didn't get it today, but it was close.
Yeah, we spoke about the Norwegian team briefly there, and as we wait for the medal ceremony, when you look down the shooting total times, right at the bottom is Tommaso Giacomel, who's come off such a high in Antholz, 1 minute and 2 seconds behind the shooting time of Justus Strelo. And for him, Chad, it will just be a case of taking these next 2 days when he's not racing to really reset and get back into the mental space he was for Antholz.
Well, that's the other thing that happens in these biathlon championship relays is you look at how does Giacomel lose a minute on the shooting range? Well, you do that by missing, and then it compounds and you slow down and you try to make sure that you don't hit the penalty loop, and then when you do that you slow down even more, so the time is just melting on all sides of the knife, and you leave the shooting range a minute slower than everybody than the best guy on the day.
Well, Lindsay, the mascot, entertaining the crowd as the athletes put their bibs back on and prepare to make their way out to the podium, which is situated right in front of the stand, just beyond the finishing line, between the start gate and the finishing line, and plenty moving over to this left-hand side of the stand to get the best view possible. Those holding French flags, forcing their way down to the front. Now, Chad, we've seen some incredible support. It started in Contiolate with the fans travelling in their masses in support of France. They haven't had to make too much of a trip this time round, but still out in their forces, and well, they're being rewarded, aren't they, particularly by the relay teams. And well, you have to say as well on the women's side, Lujan Monod doing so well, but when they combined as a force today in the mixed relay, that's exactly what those flying the French flag in the stands would have wanted to see and came here for.
Yeah, and contextually to the fan question, it's a nice gallery here in this midweek start of the World Championships. Wednesday, not one of the most followed events on the repertoire. I mean, the mixed relay is great fun, but it shows you that the Swiss organizer, it's very hard to get biathlon fans to choose to go to a venue they've not been to before. So if you're going to choose between the World Championships in Lenzerheide and the World Cup in Oslo, you might choose Oslo because of the long hallowed history there, or Ruhpolding or Antholz. So the Swiss have done a great job, and you and I saw that in the Grand Bernan in December, that the head of the organizing committee from Lenzerheide went to the French World Cup to drum up support and excitement for these World Championships. And it's clearly paying off in ticket sales.
Yeah, absolutely. Bustling environment around, not just, of course, the stand, but around the course as well, as we saw. And it's just a Wednesday, and the first Wednesday of competition as well. And we expect things to get a lot busier over the course of the next week and a half.
It's a nice central location for Europe, too. If you're a European biathlon fan, Lenzerheide is not too big of a drive. It might be a little bit of a challenge to get the public transportation and find the housing, but you know, there's a lot of great sports towns around here. Davos is just down the road, for example. They have cross-country World Cup. So there's a lot of infrastructure in the surrounding area to support an event like this, and it's great to see the stadium looking so championship-like.
Yep. Well, a lot of money and investment has gone into raising the standards and the quality of this stadium. And And, well, we're rewarded with an excellent first day of racing. Julia Simon, who took a tumble in that first leg, hit the deck, snapped lost one of her poles, snapped the other, had to get back up, recovered so well in the range to give Lou Jean Monod the lead. And it's a lead they didn't concede. And once again, world champions retaining their title. They lead out the medal ceremony. And for the first time since Antolz in 2020, Czechia back on the podium and their best ever result in a World Championships. An excellent day for them and a great start for the German programme, which has shone, particularly on the women's side this season, led out by Selina Grottian, the youngster who has stepped up to a really strong level. Well, plenty of German fans welcoming the German quartet up onto the podium. Selina Grottian leading out the team, followed by Franziska Preuss, who leads the way in the World Cup standings for the women and claims her first medal, one that she will hope will be the first of many here at Lenzerheide 2025. Philipp Navrat, it's his birthday tomorrow. What a way to celebrate. Kicking things off with a bronze medal, and Schuster Strelo, a solid performance. Couldn't quite match the ski speed of the Czech team at the end, but really solid shooting, back to his best in the range, and well deserving of that bronze medal.
3 athletes in this quartet are receiving their very first World Championship medals, and how special and how memorable is this for Schuster Strelo, Philipp Navrat, and Selina Grottian. Navrat, a long career in the sport of biathlon, but getting his first World Championship medal right there. It's a bronze.
Well, it's lovely, isn't it? The variety of ages as well that we have. And Selina Grottian, who takes back-to-back bronze medals. But what a day this is for Czechia. Their best ever performance at a World Championships as a mixed relay team.
Yeah, the big surprise of the day, and you got to feel good for them. Best they've ever done at the World Championships is 3rd in this very event. They step up a notch today, and Kritzmar is there to take his 2nd medal. Everybody else in his quartet also getting their first medals of their World Championship careers.
Yep.
This time a silver for the Czechs.
Kritzmar upgrading the bronze medal in the mixed relay in Antolz. First medal in the mixed relay for Selina Grottian. She was part of the women's relay team. It was that finished 3rd in Novo Mesto for Germany last season. So this will be a day that the Czech quartet remember for a very long time, a day that will go down in biathlon history in Czechia. Huge smiles on the face of Jessica Hyslova, Luisa Vabornikova, Vítězslav Horník, and Michal Kritzmar. But they retain their title. The French team march on once again. A dominant performance. And one that took a huge amount of metal. A crash on the first lap for Julia Simon, who recovered so well.
Yeah, I think if you just look at Julia Simon's role in this relay,
yeah, it's huge.
It's huge. Her experience to try to shoot after that kind of a rush of adrenaline at a World Championships, it just told you, it showed her medal how experienced she was and how she just didn't let it freak her out.
Well, you look at the impact it had on those around her.
Absolutely. Norway,
who managed to avoid the crash but still had the adrenaline flowing through their veins.
Magnussen.
Yep, Sweden as well.
Yeah.
And really the athlete who came off the worst in the collision was Julia Simon, losing her poles and still managing to give France the lead as they came into exchange one. Lou Jean Monod Of course, added to that lead, continued her excellent form, Eric Perrault, who was part of the winning quartet at the last World Championships, taking back-to-back medals, of course, as well. And Emilia Jacquelin, who was not part of the team this time last year in Novo Mesto, and we know there's been plenty of talk over who would fill that spot. You can't deny Emilia Jacquelin, the form he's had as an anchor for the French team, particularly the men's relay team. And despite a wobble on the last, over the line with over a minute advantage. And they are world champions. The first medal ceremony of Lenzerheide 2025. France stand on top spot and lead the embryonic medal table. Plenty more to come. Well, a lovely moment for the French team and the French fans in the stands who so regularly have sung the national anthem without any backing music or backing track on the World Cup this season. And they belted it out. France standing atop the podium. Plenty more action to come over the course of the next week and a half. And we'll be back here for coverage of the women's sprint on Friday, with the race kicking off at 3:05 Central European time, with coverage starting here at 3 o'clock.
hat sich die Rennwagen, der Rest der Rennwagengeschichte und die Franzosen, die feiern sich. Ab 16 Uhr. Duali sorgt für Partystimmung. Also, war nicht gut, aber die französischen Fans, da sind alle ganz, ganz zufrieden. In diesem Sinne, schönes Wetter.